We had a little technical difficulty. If you've been to the hospital and woken up with 3 doctors around you, that's kind of what it looks like when you look if you're not here. We've had 3 technicians surrounding the podium, so we're good to go. Welcome to this session called Unveiling the Power of H5P Smart Import, Redesigning Learning Reality. Our presenters today are Laura Gazelle, who is the Senior Instructional Designer, and Kristen Gregory, who is Assistant Director of Learning Design Services at UCO. Today, what you can look forward to is a session designed to provide a hands-on demonstration of H5P Smart Import, which uses AI technology to create subtle learning objects for online courses in record time. What used to take several hours of development time is now completed in a matter of minutes. Participants will have the opportunity to watch a demonstration of H5P Smart Import and participate in collaborative discussions to deepen their understanding of H5P Smart Import. By the end of the session, you should understand H5P Smart Import, know what to select when using H5P Smart Import, have an awareness of cognitive load and how it impacts students, and appreciate the power of technology to quickly create learning objects for online courses. And I'll ask you, once we get to the question and answer session, if you will wave, I'll be bringing the mic to you. That will allow folks who are tuning in by Zoom to hear them. Okay.
It blinked.
And it looks like...
Did it drop us? We need tech. Where's our screen?
Let me see what the chat. Oh, yes.
On the screen, it's still showing up on the screen.
So this one. So
It's just not showing up on there.
It's just not showing it.
Sorry, I'm grunting. Let's see.
Okay, I got Linda Banks says I can hear and see your screen, so on Zoom we're seeing.
Just not on there. Okay.
Can you maybe find a tech and let them know our
Let me go. I think
screen
Brad
is...
just went that way.
How do you get this thing? Okay, so here we are, everybody. We're really excited to be here to talk about H5P Smart Import. I'm Laura Gazelle, Kristen Gregory. I just want you to tell you a little backstory. So I was doing some development with one of our faculty designers, and she tells me, Laura, there's this thing called H5P Smart Import. I'm like, what? How come you didn't tell me sooner? So she sent me a link and we watched this video, and I was just like, OMG. And I even sent Kristen, remember that day?
Yes, very excited. She came in my office and I was like, something's gotten into Laura. I have no idea what's happening, but this has to be really big.
Yeah. So we did a test pilot of how to use this tool, and something that would take you several hours to create as a faculty designer, instructional designer, it was finished in a matter of minutes. So we went to our director and like, Tracy, oh my God, Smart Import, you have to get it for us. Yeah. And so she got it for us, and we've been using it, and it's been amazing. So that's what we're here to show you. We just want you to have some sense of our excitement, because with all the tech problems, we didn't want that to take away from how exciting this is. So we're going to talk a little bit about active learning. So like active learning, one of the problems with online learning is that when you get into a class, you're just clickety, and reading a bunch of stuff, like one text box after another. Oh my God, I have to read a PowerPoint, and now I have to go and read this other thing, and now I have to do a discussion. And so the Smart Import, they get to do a game, they get to look at some flashcards, they get to do a drag and drop, and they get to see a board and see how well they did. And so that's what's really exciting, and that's what makes it active learning. So,
you can just do the agenda. You've already done that.
okay, so we went over the active learning.
You can just
So the
tell.
other thing is to think about how it has an impact on your student engagement and retention. So studies have shown that when students are more engaged and they are actually more empowered and have control over the learning, that has a really significant outcome overall for our students. So let's just go over what exactly is, because I'm so excited about Smart Import, but as far as the technical term, I have it written down here because it's a little bit,
We're back.
oh, okay. So what is it? So what is this H5P thing, right? So it's AI-driven technology. So H5P stands for HTML5 package. So it's basically a plug-in to publishing systems. And so you plug it into your LMS. That's how we use it at University of Oklahoma.
Central
And what the
Oklahoma.
Smart Import is,
Central Oklahoma.
it's not ChatGPT, but it is AI. It's an AI engine. And so what it does, it processes information with things in textbooks and encyclopedias, okay? So what they call declarative knowledge. It still has more to go as far as like explaining something like how to ride a bike, how to create a website. And so that's what we're going to show you, the differences. And so one of the things that I want to talk about too is this book that I read. It's called Accidental Instructional Designer. And I read this book for several years now. She even has a second edition. But the key points about this book that I want you to think about is to get them feeling, get the students feeling, because you want to have this emotional storytelling, and you want to use powerful narratives like real life scenarios whenever you can. That's so important. And it's to help students to have that relevance, the WIIFM. Has anybody heard of WIIFM? So that stands for What's in It for Me. So just think of it like a radio station, like this is a radio station for my students, to make them have fun and make this engaging. And so, in that sense, you're tapping into their emotions, because if somebody's having fun, they're going to be happy. That's going to be a happy emotion, and to make the content more relatable. Okay, and so you get them doing. So by active participation with a Smart Import, by being involved in the lesson, that's what gets them excited. And then you want to be sure it's providing relevant practice. So when you're choosing your Smart Imports for your class, make sure it's relevant to what they need to know. Okay, so now.
Cognitive load.
Okay, so this one's really important too, because we want to talk about cognitive load. And so you want to think about how you're chunking the information for your students, so that this is going to help them to succeed on the final, but at the same time, we don't want them to be overwhelmed. You want to make sure the instructions are clear, because some students may not have used the H5P in the learning management systems. They need to know what the instructions are to use it. And the complexity should be, you should progress, first start off with some easy lessons and then kind of build up as you go throughout the modules. And have some good visuals designed. Now, H5P does provide pretty good visual design, but it's also good to go in and fix it. At times you have to fix it to make it a little bit nicer. And there are areas where you can provide interactive feedback and providing relevant and prioritizing learning. So that's something that's very important too. So when you think about cognitive load, you just want to make sure that you're not bombarding your students with too much technology, because then, they could leave the lesson with like a really bad headache, and that's what we don't want to do. Okay, so here are the design tips. So I kind of talked about that a little bit before. You have to make sure that the content is structured and factual. I'm going to give you some examples. And so a lot of times, like how we have the PowerPoints and we put them into LMSs as like a learning tool. So what we do at the University of Oklahoma is
Central Oklahoma. We're at Central Oklahoma.
Central Oklahoma. I'm sorry. The storm woke me up last night. So we convert the PowerPoint into a PDF, and then that is uploaded into the Smart Import. So if the PowerPoint has too many pictures, it's not gonna work, so that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, so you can upload the PowerPoint that's converted into a PDF. You can do Word documents, you could do web pages, and you could do a URL to a YouTube or a Vimeo video. But those are the only ones they have right now. We're gonna demo a YouTube video.
And you can copy and paste text.
Yes, and you can copy and paste text into a box, and it'll turn into a lesson within a few minutes. And this is what you can't upload. So just think about this, things that are like highly subjective, mathematical equations, we can't do that yet, and Kaltura videos. And also note the only language supported is English, which I found was interesting because the developers are in Norway. So, go figure.
Do we want to do the PowerPoint and then demonstration?
So, yeah, so now we're gonna go ahead and start the Smart Import
Why don't
demonstration.
you tell them about it first, and then when we go back, we can show. Since
Okay.
we're having tech problems.
Okay, so because we're having tech problems, this is basically how the Smart Import is going to work. So the first thing you do is you upload your content, and then you review the text, and then you'll have a chance to review the concepts, and then also select content types. So I also want to make sure not to leave out this very important part. So one of the things that's so important at the University of Central Oklahoma and all of our universities is our students' privacy. And so H5P and the developers there have worked very hard to make sure that our students' privacy is protected when we're generating AI information in H5P. Okay. So these are the different types of acceptable imports. So an audio can be up to 50 minutes. And same thing with video. You can see the different types, MP4, Vimeo, YouTube, some of these other types of apps. And then the docs have to be a PDF, a document, and it has to be a minimum characters of 500, maximum is 50,000 characters. Okay? So when you do your Smart Import, this is a lesson that is created. You will get an interactive video. Yeah, you have to have an uploaded video for that one. Then you'll have a summary of the lesson. You'll have a glossary with accordions. When I say accordions, that's like you have a title and then a box that opens with content underneath. Then you have concept cards, so that would be like flashcards that they can turn over. You'll have a true and false quiz. Then you'll have a drag the words. Then you can have another set of flashcards, an abstract summary, and then there's a game board at the end where they can see how well they've done, and they can try it again if they want to get a better score. So it's gamification as well.
Do you want to click on these or no? Or go to our site?
So hit stop share.
This makes me nervous. And click. Right there. Yeah. This is what I was nervous about. How do we share again?
Let's see.
That's what I was nervous about.
Okay, click on that one. Okay, this is where we want to be. Okay.
Well, we've got to
Now-
share in Zoom. There it is.
Okay, share screen.
Yeah,
Right there.
this one.
Okay, so unfortunately it's not showing on this screen.
How do we? I don't know how to switch it.
Okay. Can you come and help us?
Do we?
We're trying to get this.
This is sharing in Zoom, but we need this sharing on this screen. It's
That's
a
because you leave it in, you're duplicating.
Yes?
When you do the narrative that goes along your PowerPoints, you
I
have
think
anybody
we
can hear me,
switched it
can't
to
they?
duplicate.
Have a seat.
Yeah, the people in Zoom.
Zoom folks.
Oh, okay. When you have a narrative on your PowerPoint, where you would normally put your speaker notes, I know we've got to pull them out because they don't carry over into a PDF. Do you suggest that we take those speaker, how do you suggest we handle the speaker notes that we ordinarily would put
Let's
on the
move this window
PowerPoint?
away from this.
So you go
What window? What is this?
save as an outline.
Save the PowerPoint.
Thank you, Janet.
I've never seen it.
So what you're gonna do with the PowerPoint is you're gonna go to print, and print as an outline. And then from there, what you're going to do is then you can copy all of the text, and then you will dump the text into the Smart Import text feature.
So you essentially would have your slide and then copy the text?
Yeah, that's all you'll be able to get the notes.
Are you guys, where's Zoom?
Where's Zoom?
Did you guys log off Zoom?
We did not. There, right there. We did not log off.
Oh, it's not going.
Ah,
It still shows you guys on the call.
and it's still showing our, yeah. Is it extended or?
No, it's mirrored.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe click on X for that.
The file explorer.
this keeps doing a weird.
Oh, okay, now it's doing it, okay. Now click on this imports. Okay, that's good. Now you want to extend this, make this bigger.
Extend a little.
They just, on Zoom, you might tell them they're not going to be able to see the demonstration unless we can get it shared. They're seeing our PowerPoint, not our demonstration.
Okay. Now, what do you want to share?
There.
That one.
Oh, because you have to stop share and then reshare.
Yeah. We did. There we go.
Okay, so now we are going to create a Smart Import
Maybe.
based on the amount of time that we have left. So how much time do we have, Kristen?
30 minutes.
Okay. So here is a video by Lisa Nichols, a motivational speaker. She's one of my favorites. We're going to copy this video. And put it in here. How do I paste it? Okay, so now it's going to start. I'll hit import. Okay, so right there you'll see the transcribing. Who has a clock? Michael, what time is it? Oh. Okay. Alrighty, so now we can have some chat. Now you can go get some coffee. Instead of spending 15 hours of designing, okay, think about the impact of that, right? Okay.
It usually takes about a couple of minutes upwards to about 5 minutes. It usually takes a couple of minutes upwards to about 5 minutes for it to transcribe. It depends on the length of the video. This one's pretty short, so it shouldn't take very long. Makes me a little nervous just because there seems to be a delay on this device. So it makes me a little bit nervous about the amount of time. If you're having bad broadband or something like that, it could maybe cause a delay. However, what Laura mentioned about going and getting coffee, when it comes to H5P, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and each one of the interactives takes a little bit of time to learn how to create them. What Smart Import's doing is it's not only creating one of the learning objects, it's creating multiple learning objects given the content that's actually in the video or whatever it is that you're uploading in a short time. So we would maybe spend a day, sometimes 2 days, which, of course, that time could be broken up just in a design, with a design project, but it could take us some time to really think like, what do we want in this? What's the best way to present it? And so on. And it just takes a lot of mental energy to go through that process, where now with this particular technology, it's doing all that thinking for us, it's creating something. And then what we can do with that, once it's created, is say, okay, how do we need to edit this? What do we want to keep? What do we really don't want to use for this particular course? So that took 2 minutes.
Oh, MG. Okay, it took 2 minutes. Okay, so now hit review text.
So now we'll review
Okay.
text.
So now you go in here and you'll be able to review what you want, or if you want to take some of this out, the information from the video. It tells you how many words there are, and then click on continue.
So if you see a misspelling of some sort, now's the time to make that
Now it's going to
correction.
analyze it, and then you'll get to see all the learning objects that you get to select to put in your class.
Question. Is
Yes.
Is this application you download, or you have to purchase it, or how is this?
Yes, you have to purchase it. This is the program that your university would have to purchase. There is a free H5P, but I don't think it has the smart import.
It's like a Premier
You know what
package.
the
Yeah.
cost is? Kind of like the cost for it?
The cost for it, that I don't know right offhand.
I can help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they try to package it, they basically do it in credits, and each time you do an import, that counts as 1 credit. And so they have a couple of different options. I think we opted for like a $3,500 credit, and it was about $6,000. I think you can do maybe 7,000 or 8,000 credits, and it's billed annually, and that would probably be upwards to that 9,000, 10,000, maybe a little bit more. Since we were trialing it out, we chose the smaller amount. Yes.
Do we have access to it, or is that through you?
So the question was, do they have access to it? So I'm being asked, how much does it cost, and do they have access to it? So for the cost, it's billed annually, it's by credit. What you're going to see is she's reviewing these concepts. There's different, and when we look at the interactive of the options, you get all of the interactives, all for the cost of 1 credit, right? So just keep that in mind. When you upload something, that's 1. However many interactives you choose, you can see there's a lot of options here, the interactive book, and then so on. You can select all of those, right? When thinking about what you want, this is why it's important for the faculty member or for the instructional designer to consider what's the objectives of the course, what are we hoping to achieve. Some of the items on the list here, like the dialogue cards, question set, drag the words, interactive video, it's going to be included in the interactive book as a package deal, right? So if you wanted just 1 interactive that has a lot of it, you could just select the interactive book. If you wanted an individual learning object, just, for this particular video, I just want to create a crossword puzzle, that is an option that you can select, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind, but you get all of these, and so the faculty would have a variety of options for that 1 upload for them to choose what they wanted to incorporate in the course. The other thing with the Smart Import, once you have it, it's easy to edit. So you might have something that you're like, I might not use this particular one for this particular class, but I definitely can see me using one of these interactives for another course. So once you have it, now you're just going in and editing. And sometimes it's easier to do than create and then edit. Sometimes it's easier to just go in and edit. So again, this whole process, 5 minutes from step 1 to step 4, and it's ready to go so that we can start looking at that. To answer your question, Jan, about do we have access to it? Yes, UCS faculty have access to this. So when they would normally log in to create an H5P interactive in the course, they would just see H5P, and then it would say, basically which learning object do you want to create, and you would select one of the options. Now next to that same, once you log in the same way that you do, you'll see a little blue icon that says Smart Import, and when you select that, that's how you find it and then start interacting with it. And we're currently monitoring, we'll work with IT. They have access to the dashboard that tells us where we're at with credits that have been used up to this point, what faculty seem to be using them, what interactives seem to be selected the most, and then we are tailoring our faculty development and communication on kind of what's our next steps within our own internal department. Do we need more credits? And kind of communicating that with our contact at the Smart Import. So it's really just something that we've launched just early this year, and we've had a few months of playing around with it. We have engaged with some of our more power user H5P right now, alerted them to what is available now. We're starting to open up that conversation with more people, but we really don't want everyone just running wild with it at this point because there is a cost. It's not just unlimited. So Laura, do you want to talk about what we just created?
Yes. OMG, so transcripts, right? So remember how we used to have to do that by hand? That used to take so much time from a video. Look at it, they created a transcript. So now we have a transcript that's already done. You can go through and edit it. And now you'll see your interactive. First, I want to show you the video. So you see where there are these little dots? That is basically something that has been added for the students to enhance the learning. So you have definition.
Design. It shows it.
Okay. And then right here,
I need someone I've never been. Just calls me.
that's your knowledge. Okay. So they have a chance to answer a question. And then it'll give us a definition. So what's really amazing is a lot of times, we love to put videos in our online classes, right? But then we're like, did the student watch it, right? So this makes it fun, so that way they go in and watch it. Okay, you see 1 through 8. So that means not only the video, you also have a glossary. Look at this. So you can click on all these terms. Okay?
And tell them during one of the stages is where they are selecting what terms.
And then these are the concept cards. What was that, Kristen?
If you'll just go back to the glossary. When we first uploaded the video and it was kind of doing the analyzing part of it, transcribing, analyzing, and then there was we were making the edits. When you could select what concepts that you wanted to keep. So that's a good time to review. She didn't deselect any of them. So all of them are here, but if you're really thinking about focused lessons and activities, that's where it's going to pull from. Whatever you're saying, yes, I want to, this particular concept. So there's a big long list, but maybe there were only really 5 or 8 things that you wanted to be in focus. You have that opportunity to select those. And then when it's creating the questions and the interactives and all of that, it's pulling from what you have now said, this is what I want to be in focus. We didn't take anything off, so you're seeing a longer list, but know that you can customize it as it's creating at that time.
Okay, and then these are the flashcards. You can see, I'm not going to go over each one, but you'll just see, you just flip that over, and then they can see the answer. So now we're on number 4. You can see it's the true and false quiz. 5 is a drag the words exercise. And then you have some more flashcards. 7 is a summary of the key points. And then this is the dashboard that I want to show you. So this gives them a chance to see their score, the glossary, and so on. So now I'm going to show you if it's a PowerPoint. So this is a PowerPoint. Actually, it's Janet's PowerPoint. Hope you don't mind, because it came out so well. And so this little mouse thing is a little bit tricky. So the first thing is when you think about uploading your PowerPoint, you have to upload it into a PDF. I did do some, added some pictures to enhance the quality so that it looks nice, and change this around a little bit in the actual PowerPoint. So you can click through all the slides. That's what all these buttons are here on the bottom. So I'm not going to go through each one, but then she has a glossary, and then Janet has her concept cards, and so on. So the interactive book, just like I showed you, has the 8 different items. Now you can also create a crossword puzzle, so that's what I was going to show you.
Can you adapt the crossword puzzle once it's created?
You can adapt everything, and you can share it too. So now we're going to go to okay, let's see if I can find
There's the crossword puzzle, third on the list.
Oh, okay, here we go. Well, here's a crossword puzzle. It's not the same one, but this is a crossword puzzle that was created in Smart Import. And so the question that Janet had, which is very good, is like, well, what if I want to change it? So all you have to do is click on Edit. And then you can scroll down and do the necessary edits that you need to do within the question. So each one of these is a question that you can go in and change. You can click on this, click on that.
Including answers.
Yes, or you could add another word. Always hit save after you're done. And then Janet said, well, I really like that crossword puzzle. I wanted to share it with my colleague. So then we click reuse. Download as an H5P file. And so now this file can now be shared with someone else.
They have to have the license.
Yes, they have to have a license, but there's going to be an H5P hub coming up, right? Where some of the free resources will be in there.
It'll be a different kind of hub. It's not going to be a HVAC hub. Are we talking about the OER one?
No.
Oh.
Repeat the question. So the question was, is there going to be a hub? H5P actually has an open education resource hub. So anything that is uploaded to that hub, so you can just search, H5P and find their hub. It's about 99.95% complete. I don't think they quite launched it, but it's coming, or has it been launched, Laura?
It hasn't been launched yet.
Yeah,
No.
so it's almost, I expect it to be released this year. So any interactive that you find in there, you can use. You can also go to Pressbooks. They have H5P in there. And any of the H5P interactives that you find at Pressbooks are reusable as well. So those are open access. So within a university, at UCO, we can hit reuse and share it amongst our departments. We can share it amongst our colleagues. You can also make it public. So if it's public and you embed the H5P, say in a PowerPoint for a presentation such as this, or in a Google Doc or something like that, anyone without a license can interact with it and have the experience of the active learning that it's providing. So those are different settings. Some faculty do not want their content out and shareable. They just want it for whoever's enrolled in that class. They get to have access to it and they can have it protected. So again, this is something that UCO has invested in. We've invested in H5P, where they have unlimited license to create all the full package as far as learning objects. And then we've invested in Smart Import, which is basically a premier option, and it is by credits. and we're monitoring the usage of that, but it is transforming the design and engagement. So the design of e-learning courses, how can we take those to the next level? What we are empowering faculty to feel they have these ideas, they've seen the examples, but then there's sometimes a sense of overwhelmness of, oh, I've got to learn something new. And that's where Smart Import is coming in to play with giving them a starting point, something to build off of while they start to get a little bit more oriented with it. Our team is working with people on a one-on-one basis if they need training on just how to do H5P. There are different, and I spoke about this last year, there's different interactives that have different learning curves. So some of them are very simple, easy to edit and build. You take 15 minutes, you're done, and you've really mastered that. Others, such as the interactive book, is a little bit more involved, right? There's lots of pieces to it. There's lots of components, and so it can be a little bit overwhelming. And so asking someone saying, oh, I really want this interactive lesson and I want all these different layers to it, and then you're saying, okay, well, here are some tutorials, have at it. They're going to see it as I've got a couple of hours of training myself before I can figure out even what I want to do with it. And that's just where Smart Import's kind of coming in and saving the day in that regard. It's giving them something to start with. And then once they've experienced it, once they've put it in their courses, once they're getting the feedback from students that was a really fun and engaging learning activity, they're not so afraid to explore H5P further, and they're starting to look at, there's like 40 different options. What you're seeing is like 8, right? So Smart Import does not do all 40 options. It's, they're expanding all the time, and they are adding to that bank as far as options that you can create, but it is limited in comparison to just H5P. So we don't want our faculty to just be dependent on Smart Import. We want them to also continue to explore what H5P has in its full capacity.
So, yeah, and that is so important, because sometimes maybe you might not need to create a Smart Import. So for one of the classes, which is for the College of Education, they're taking classes, a graduate program in counseling. So there's a lot of competency-based learning. So that one is a good candidate for Smart Import. Whereas another class might be like a graduate in training, like how to be a professional trainer, maybe not so much in that class. Anyway, on this screen, I want to show you what the public, this is where the link can be available to the public and then can be inserted into the LMS and embedded. And so you have an external link where it will open up by just clicking on this. And then you also have the embed code it provides you so that you can put in, enter in the embed code for the learning object. We call them learning objects. And then it shows you the size. You can change the size right here. So now this particular project has now been turned into a clone. So now you have 2 of those. Let's see if I have them in here. So I also want to show you, let's see, or does anyone have any particular one they would like to see?
I just had a couple quick questions.
Uh-huh.
Do they expire?
He has to.
The question was, do they expire? And no, once they're created, they do not expire. Now, if you were to choose like a gaming option, you can set the time that interactive is available. So you can adjust those settings. But as far as just like more of the informative lesson types, they do not expire.
Can it report to a grade center?
Can it report to a grade center? Meaning like, does it sync with the LMS?
Yeah, so when
Yes.
you embed it in the LMS, you have a
Yes,
assessment in there. Can it-
Yes, so it can be linked and it does sync, and so there is a grade option when you go into the edit modes. It basically, what's being asked is, does it sync to the gradebook? Yes. There's an LTI setting that right now at UCO we have it set to not send it to the gradebook. but you can send like your first attempt, the best attempt, like there's different options. It defaults to 10 points, but then you can go into your grade book and adjust those points to whatever it is that you want it to actually be graded at, and it will sync at their completion, yes.
So, like the crossword puzzle, can that be also downloaded into a hard copy? So if I teach a face-to-face class and a traditional class, and I'd like to do a lesson, an in-class lesson of that?
I do believe, the question was, can the crossword puzzle be downloaded? And I do believe, like, when you're in the LMS and you do a right click, you can print the page. So it does appear on the screen as a crossword puzzle with the, little cues, to the side. So you just have to look to see if that's available, but it is, when it's embedded into the LMS, usually there's a way in which you can print that as a web page. So, but I would have to test that and get back to you, just to, for sure, confirm that it is printable. Another question? Yes?
If the content you create, as far as licensing goes, does it belong to the university or is it, I know that you can choose whether it's public or private, but is H5P, do they own it in some way or anything like that, or is the university, like, whatever you create with this?
That's a really good question.
That's what OER.
The question is who owns the content that's created by H5P? It is an OER option, but if you keep it as protected, then it's your content and they do not share that out to others. So it will go to their database, but essentially you're the author of that.
Show them this right here, Sue.
Yeah, so yeah, when it's protected. When we embed H5P into our course content, there's, a few minutes left. When we embed course content into our courses at UCO, our courses are copyright UCO. However, if the faculty decided that particular interactive, that it wanted to be public and they wanted to share it and they created it, then it is considered an open access resource. It's a third party.
Are there any questions in the Zoom room?
Not seeing any at this point.
Okay.
All right.
So this is an example of
Yeah. Few minutes.
protected. So you can see what that looks like. Then we can click on public to answer your question and click update. This particular one is actually it was a handout. And so it embedded all the content from the handout. I already had the headings put in there. And so this actually saved a lot of time for talking about learner personas with ChatGPT. And then it did all the other things like the glossary and so on. So the one thing I will say, as Kristen mentioned, is that it is, just like anything else, it is a little bit of a learning curve. If you've already started out with the basic H5P and you've learned how to use some of those tools, it does make it a little bit easier. But they do provide, step-by-step options and provide a lot of support and training. Okay, thanks.
Last question, there was one on the chat. Jamie was trying to wrap her head around the pricing structure, and she understands it's by credit. Theoretically, one person could upload a reading. That would be 1 credit. Then let's say there's 3 activities. Does that cost 3 more credits? No. When you upload, you can select what interactives that you want to create with that when you upload whatever that content is. And if you end up with 15 or 20 selected, that still only costs 1 credit. So every little check mark that you select to create is not additional credits. Great question. We really appreciate your time, and we also appreciate your patience with our technological difficulties here at the beginning. It's a little bit disorienting, but we appreciate you. And let us know if you have any other questions. We're happy to discuss Smart Import or H5P further with you afterwards. Thank you.